infinite. Thereupon the thought came to Sakra and the other gods in this great trichiliocosm, up to the Akanishta gods. Let us then, since Subhuti the elder preaches this view of Dharma, conjure up flowers and scatter them over the Buddha, the Lord, the congregation of monks and bodhisattvas, and the perfection of wisdom. Thereupon Sakra and the other gods in this great trichiliocosm conjured up heavenly Mandarava flowers and scattered them over the Buddha, the Lord, the congregation of monks, Subhuti the elder, and this perfection of wisdom. And the entire great trichiliocosm was covered with flowers, and high up in the sky a pointed tower was formed, made of flowers, enjoyable, and pleasing. Thereupon Subhuti the elder thought to himself, those flowers which now proceed from all the abodes of the gods, I have not seen them before. These flowers which the gods have scattered are magical creations, and have not issued from trees, shrubs, or creepers. These flowers are mind-made, and have not issued from trees, shrubs, or creepers. Sakra. These flowers, Rev. Subhuti, did not issue forth at all. These flowers have not issued from the mind, and they have also not issued from trees, shrubs, or creepers. Subhuti. Just as you have said. But then, kausika, if they have not issued forth at all, then they are not flowers. Sakra. Have then only those flowers not issued forth at all, or also form, feeling? Subhuti. Not only have these flowers not issued forth, form also has not issued forth, and that which has not issued forth, that is not form. And so for everything up to the fully enlightened Buddha. The aids to penetration on the path of the Pratyeka Buddhas. Heat. Sakra. Deeply wise, surely, is the holy Subhuti the elder, in that he does not obstruct the concept, and yet points out the true nature of Dharma. The Lord. So it is, Sakra, as you say. Sakra. How then does Subhuti the elder not obstruct the concept and yet point out the true nature of Dharma? The Lord. Form is a mere concept, and what is mere concept that is the true nature of Dharma? That Subhuti the elder does not obstruct, but he points it out. And why? What is the true nature of Dharma, that cannot be obstructed, and Subhuti the elder points it out and does not obstruct it? Subhuti. So it is, kausika, so it is. As by the Lord all dharmas have been pointed out as mere concepts, just so should the bodhisattva, the great being, having known all dharmas as mere concepts, train in perfect wisdom. And why? Because there he does not review the form in which he trains. When he trains thus, the bodhisattva, the great being, trains in the perfection of giving. And why? Because he does not review the perfection of giving in which he trains. And so for everything else up to all knowledge. Sakra. For what reason does a bodhisattva not review that form, to all knowledge, in which he trains? Subhuti. Because their form is empty of form, and why? Because form emptiness does not review form as emptiness. He who trains in this emptiness, he trains in the emptiness of form, too. In the immeasurable and incalculable Buddha Dharmas, too. In the knowledge of all modes, without making any divisions. Summits. He does not train for the increase of form, nor for its decrease. And who does not train for the increase or decrease of form, he does not train for the appropriation or vanishing of form. Steadfast patience. Sariputra. For what reason does the bodhisattva not train for the appropriation or vanishing of form? Subhuti. Because there is no appropriation of form, and why? Because form cannot appropriate form, it is thus. Then, Sariputra. That the bodhisattva, the great being, trains in all knowledge for the sake of the non-appropriation of all dharmas. and goes forth to all knowledge by way of the non-appropriation of all dharmas. Highest mundane dharmas. Sariputra. When he thus trains, how will the bodhisattva, the great being, when he has trained for the non-appropriation and non-vanishing of all dharmas, go forth to all knowledge? Subhuti. Because there the bodhisattva, the great being, when he courses in perfect wisdom, does not see of form, the production of stopping, nor the taking hold of or letting go, nor the defilement or purification, nor the heaping up or taking, nor the decrease or increase. And why? Because form does through its own being not exist. It is thus that the bodhisattva, the great being, trains for the sake of the non-production, non-stopping, non-appropriation, non-letting go, non-defilement, non-purification, non-accumulation, non-taking away, non-decrease and non-increase of all dharmas. When he trains in perfect wisdom, he will go forth to all knowledge, by of non-training, by way of non-going forth. 4. The path of vision and the great advantage. For the great advantage, and, with reference to the path of vision, acceptance of cognition of dharma in suffering. Sakra. Where, Rev. Sariputra, should one search for perfect wisdom? Sariputra. The perfection of wisdom should be sought in the exposition of the Ven. Subhuti. Sakra. It is, holy Subhuti, through your own might and authority that the holy Sariputra can say that the perfection of wisdom should be sought in the exposition of the Ven. Subhuti. Subhuti. This might is not mine, kausika, this authority is not mine. Sakra. Whose then is this might, whose is this authority? Subhuti. It is the Tathagata's might, it is the Tathagata's authority adhisthana. For the Tathagata cannot be apprehended except through the fact that in his true nature he has no fixed residence near adhisthana, or is without a solid basis, he cannot be. Here begins the bodhisattva path. Apprehended except through suchness. Without a fixed residence, chief of gods, are all dharmas. Sakra. How, holy Subhuti, when all dharmas are without a fixed residence, do you say that this is sustaining power authority? The Tathagata's might is Subhuti. So it is. Except through the fact that in his true nature he has no fixed residence. Except through his suchness the Tathagata cannot be apprehended. And yet, the Tathagata is not apprehended in the fact that in his true nature he has no fixed residence. Nor can the fact that in his true nature he has no fixed residence be apprehended in the Tathagata, nor can the suchness be apprehended in him. The Tathagata cannot be apprehended in the suchness of form, nor can the suchness of form be apprehended in the Tathagata. The Tathagata cannot be apprehended in the true nature of form, nor can the true nature of form be apprehended in the Tathagata. And why? What is the Tathagata, that is not conjoined with the true nature of form, nor disjoined from it? Nor is it conjoined with anything other than the suchness of form, or the true nature of form, or disjoined from it. He who is not conjoined with all these dharmas, or disjoined from them, it is his might, it is his sustaining power, by way of there being no sustaining power. And when, again, kausika, you ask, where should a bodhisattva, a great being, search for perfect wisdom? He should not search for it in form, nor in that which is other than form, and why? Because the perfection of wisdom, and form, and the other skandhas, all these dharmas are not conjoined or disjoined, immaterial, invisible, non-resisting, with one mark only, no mark. Moreover, the bodhisattva should not search for perfect wisdom through the knowledge of all modes, nor outside the knowledge of all modes. And why? Because the perfection of wisdom, the knowledge of all modes, and the searching, all these dharmas are not conjoined nor disjoined, invisible, non-resisting, with one mark only, no mark. And why? Because their form is not the perfection of wisdom, nor is the perfection of wisdom other than form. And so for the true nature of form, too, the knowledge of all modes. And why? Because there all these dharmas do not exist, and cannot be apprehended. Since thus all dharmas do not exist, and cannot be apprehended, therefore the perfection of wisdom is not form, nor outside form. Not the true nature, or suchness of form, nor outside the true nature and suchness of form. 4. Cognition of dharma in suffering. Sakra. This is Rev. Subhuti, a great perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, the perfection of wisdom, an immeasurable perfection, an unlimited perfection, an infinite perfection. Those who train in it attain the fruits of the holy life. The stream winners attain the fruit of a stream winner, too. The bodhisattvas, the great beings, reach the knowledge of all modes, and they have known, they know, and they will know full enlightenment. Subhuti. So it is, kausika. And why? Through the greatness of form, is this a great perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings. And why? Because of form, no beginning can be apprehended, no end, and no middle. In this way is this a great perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings. 4. Acceptance of subsequent cognition of dharma in suffering. Through the immeasurableness of form, is this an immeasurable perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings. And why? Because of form, no measure can be apprehended. Just as no measure can be apprehended of space. So also of form, through the measurelessness of space is the measurelessness of form, and through the measurelessness of form, is the measurelessness of the perfection of wisdom. In this way is an immeasurable perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings. 4. Subsequent cognition of suffering. Through the unlimitedness of form, is this an unlimited perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings. Just as no limit can be apprehended of space. So also of form, through the unlimitedness of space is the unlimitedness of form, and through the unlimitedness of form, is the unlimitedness of the perfection of wisdom. 4. Acceptance of cognition of dharma in origination. A. The negation of cause. Through the infinitude of form, is this an infinite perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings. Just as no end can be apprehended of space, so also of form, through the infinitude of space is the infinitude of form, and through the infinitude of form, is the infinitude of the perfection of wisdom. In this way is this an infinite perception of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, on account of the infinitude of form, to the knowledge of all modes. B. The negation of origination. Moreover, kausika, because of the infinitude of its objective support, is this an infinite perception of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, the perfection of wisdom. Sakra. How is that so? Subhuti. Because of the infinitude of the objective support of the knowledge of all modes is this an infinite perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, the perfection of wisdom. C. The negation of the product. Moreover, kausika, because of the infinitude of the dharma element as an objective support is this an infinite perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, the perfection of wisdom. Sakra. How is that? Subhuti. Because the dharma element is an infinite objective support. D. The negation of condition. Moreover, kausika, because of the infinitude of suchness as an objective support is this an infinite perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, the perfection of wisdom. Sakra. How is that? Subhuti. Because of the infinitude of suchness is there an infinitude of it as an objective support. It is thus that this is through the infinitude of suchness as an objective support and infinite perfection of the bodhisattvas, the great beings, the perfection of wisdom. Moreover, kausika, because of the infinitude of beings is this an infinite perfection. Sakra. How is that? Subhuti. What do you think, kausika, what factual entity dharma does the word being denote? Sakra. This word does not denote any factual entity. This word being has been added on as something adventitious, groundless, unfounded on objective fact. Subhuti. What do you think, kausika, has in this perfection of wisdom any being been shown up? Sakra. No, then. Subhuti. Subhuti. When no being at all has been shown up, there cannot be an infinite number of beings. If the Tathagata, abiding for eons countless as the sands of the Ganges, would pronounce the word being, would thereby any being whatsoever be either produced or stopped? Sakra. No, holy Subhuti. And why? Because a being is perfectly pure from the very start. Subhuti. In this way should the infinitude of perfect wisdom be known from the infinitude of beings. End chapter 24.